Welcome to Evilive, the live media commentary show that answers the question, what's the best way to cut your own throat after a dragon lights you up? Subscribe if you're new to the channel, because today we are reviewing HBO's Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 6. We only have 2 more after this, but the next one's the penultimate. Yeah! All right, so let's talk about this thing, because there was a lot going on in this particular episode. It was directed by Andrzej Parek. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but you did a brilliant job. It was written by Eileen Shim, and I really enjoyed this. I did see a note online, which was a little bit surprising, to be quite honest, about people saying that they thought these last couple episodes have been boring. And I can't comprehend that at all, because all of this is exactly what Game of Thrones / House of the Dragon is. It's political drama set in a fantasy world. So if that's boring, maybe you should go watch some flashing lights or something, because it makes no sense. This is like wildly engaging to me. All right, so we're starting here with Lord Jason Lannister leading the his army into the Golden Tooth with a lion in a cage, by the way. I mean, talk about just like dropping your balls on someone's doorstep. Just coming up with a lion. And the arrogance of the Lannisters. Like, yeah, we're the Lannisters. Our house animal is a lion. So guess what I brought with me? Why? I don't know. It's just like a weird menagerie of lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. It's weird, right? Like, you just don't walk around, or in this particular case, travel for weeks at a time with a lion. All right. Anyway, he has his vassal, Lord Humphrey Lefford, send Aemon a raven requesting a meeting, which pisses the King Regent off more than anything else. Aemon does not want to bow down to the Lannisters, and so he immediately goes up and tells Tyland to ally with the Triarchy, and rather than going to help them out. And he wants to break the Valyrian blockade that, let's be honest, they haven't really talked about at all. Like, the first season was about Daemon going down and to like the sort of the gullet, the sort of port that comes into King's Landing, and killing the Crab King there, this wild pirate that was just murdering a bunch of people savagely. So we get to see Daemon be a badass last season. This season, like, the Valyrians have been down there blockading King's Landing, preventing them from getting any food into the city. And that's why when the King Aemond, Regent, decides to block all of the gates in King's Landing, trapping everyone inside, it means they can't get food. There's no importing of any food at all. And that's exactly what Mysaria and ultimately Rhaenyra are going to use as leverage. And of course, it's the reason why this episode is called Smallfolk, because they're leveraging the citizenry against the crown. And that is a brilliant tactic. They're the ones preventing food from coming into the city, and they're the ones that are going to leak food in, blaming the Hightowers the whole time. And it works brilliantly. So I just love that so much. But to the Valyrian blockade, no one has ships like Valyrians. Like, they literally have a fleet that not even the Greyjoys can compete with. And so they're completely left alone to just sit on the doorstep of King's Landing and hold their arms like no one's coming in. And no one can. It's brilliant. And you can't just have Vhagar go out there and deal with it, because then Vhagar might actually get some ballistae into his chest, some massive catapults or something, and kill him. And so it's a risk that's not worth exposing a dragon to. And they don't have the fleet to fight them. So I just think it's brilliant. So he wants to send Tyland down there for that. And we get this really great council room scene where Aemond is just slowly undressing different people. First, it starts with the Lannister. Then it goes over to Tarly Strong, who he infers he needs a new king's hand. And Strong thinks that Aemond is talking about him. But he's not. And he just insults him. He's like, I want you to go get Otto Hightower back. Otto was always great at doing this job. I don't want you, you little worm. Go get him and hop too. And so poor guy just feels like shit. So he needs to go and connect with Aegon, who is now, becoming conscious. Before we get to that. And then Aemond talks to his mom, Alicent. And he's like, look, you need to get out of here. You're not helping anyone. You're not doing anything worthwhile. And she's just like, what is wrong with you? How did I go so wrong? Like, haven't you got over the indignities of your youth by now? How you should like ask us for assistance and help, not throw me out of the council. And he's like, nah, go enjoy more domestic activities. Just so belittling to his mom that you know it's going to come and bite him in the ass. Like it has to, right? I'm hoping anyway. We do get a nice little nod, though, to Alicent's youngest son, that he's not as shitty as all of the other brothers are, which is reassuring. I had made a comment about how all of the Hightowers are just shit. They're just garbage people. And one of the viewers, thank you for watching, by the way, had commented saying, well, what about, oh gosh, right now I can't remember her name. The Aegon's wife, his sister, that has the visions. Is it Heather? I can't, for the life of me, it's just escaping me. Anyway, asking about her, I was like, well, she's complicit and she's never going to rule, so it really doesn't matter whether she's shitty or not. And that was a bit of a flippant response, but the truth is that she is complicit. She is allowing all this shit to go down, and she's not counseling anyone to do anything other than just be shitty. But she's not herself a horrible human. It's her being complicit with the shit that makes her bad. So it's nice to know that not only is she not a terrible human being, but also their youngest brother is like a good, empathetic human. And that's the best you can ask for as an adult, as you know, as a parent, that you raise them to be responsible, respectful, and empathetic, and hopefully hardworking. All right, so he throws her out of the small council. Then we get to see Sir Steffan Darkland, who is a knight of renown in his own rights, and he sort of comes up to Rhaenyra's small council, and she's like, "So, turns out you got a little bit of Targaryen in you. You know that?" He's like, "I guess I don't know." She's like, "Well, we kind of have this dragon, and look, you're probably gonna die, but if you don't die, you're gonna be riding a dragon. So do you want to go try to get Sea Smoke to let you ride him?" And he's like, "Shit, yeah, I do. Who doesn't want to ride a dragon? Hell yeah, let's go." And so they march on down to the cave, and Sea Smoke is just a dope-ass looking dragon, looking his baddest self. And he's, you sort of see that moment where he like lowers his head, and my wife and I are both screaming at Sir Darkland, like, "Get on his back! Get on his back! Don't like tippy tappy toe on your way over there. Just show with aggression and purpose that you are the rider and you're going to sit on this dragon's back." But he waits too long, and the dragon just burns him to cinders, along with one of the handlers. And then dude like cuts his own throat, which, yeah, you're burning to death and you're not dying fast enough. So I would like to think that I would be of cognizant mind in that moment to do something like that to end my pain. But I would probably be so freaked out, and how could you not be, that I would probably just die slowly and horrifically. It'd be terrible. But Sea Smoke, let's sort of talk about Sea Smoke before we get to Aegon, because Sea Smoke like pops smoke. He's like, "I'm out. I don't want to deal with any of this," and he sort of goes flying around on his own. And Valerian, oh boy, I've got to find his name right. Is it Laenor Valerian? I can't remember. I think it is, but I'm the worst because I'm just not remembering names right now. It's just sort of like going out of my mind. Anyway, the Lord of House Valerian, who's running this whole ship blockade of King's Landing down in the Gullet, has had two bastards. One of them he acknowledges as a bastard, and the other one he doesn't. The one that he acknowledges has the white hair, which is why he acknowledges him. Well, anyway, he actually is trying to get him to take over command of this area so that he can then go be the hand for Rhaenyra. And he doesn't particularly want to, but he basically is made to by his father. And so how can he complain? But his other son, who has black hair, not white, is like, "Dude, you've been given everything. And I can't believe you're hiding that beautiful silver hair. I'd be growing that shit out and braiding it. It'd be dope." And so he goes off, and all of a sudden Sea Smoke comes in, and he's like devastating areas, like sort of terrorizing everyone, and starts chasing this guy. And so he's running away, and Sea Smoke, we sort of end the scene with Sea Smoke like almost nose to nose with this dude, like, "Hey, You're the one. You're the one that gets to ride my back. Now, here's the deal. The Valerians and the Targaryens both come from Old Valyria. One family just happened to delve deeper into ship mastering, and the other one delved deeper into dragon riding. That's just how it sort of worked out. But when Old Valyria was being destroyed by the volcanoes, these two families came over to Westeros, and then Aegon the Conqueror conquered. And basically gave Valerians, because they're all, I guess my point of saying all of this is that they're interbred. Like the Targaryens have Valerian in them and vice versa. So when Sea Smoke goes to this bastard, yeah, it's a diluted version, but it's no more diluted than Sir Darkling was when he was given the opportunity to ride Sea Smoke. And so Sea Smoke sees in this young man a Targaryen rider, and he lets him get on his back. And now they didn't really overtly say anything like that, but I know that that's the sort of the backstory of Old Valyria and the Valerians and the Targaryens. So I know that he's got a little bit of Targaryen in him. He has to. It's very little and diluted, but it's still there. And that's why. It's not like anyone can just hop on a dragon. You still have to have that connection in some way. At least that's my interpretation of it. Whether it's wrong or not, I don't know. All right. So then once Rhaenyra hears about it at the very end, like someone was spotted riding Sea Smoke. That's my dragon. I'm trying to get a rider on it. And so she goes and takes her dragon and goes, and we'll see in the next episode, them meeting and trying to work out what the hell is going on with him on the dragon's back, which is dope. I really, really love it. All right, so let's talk about Aegon, because Aegon wakes up. And he's never going to be the same again. He's always going to be in some version of pain as his skin tightens from the scars and his tendons tighten from the scarring. And his brother comes in and just puts the little marble ball, which is like a weird, like present check on the small council. I don't know why they have that little ball in a little dish. Like if you're sitting there, we know you're there. So there's no reason to have a stupid marble ball in a stupid marble dish. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. But anyway, he puts it, the king's ball, into Aegon's hand and like leans over. He's like, "What do you remember?" Clearly saying, if you tell anyone I burned your ass, I'm going to fuck you up. And then Aegon's just like, "Oh, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. Just don't kill me." He's like, it's all much pain. Don't kill me. So yeah, he's not in a position of power. So he has to kowtow to Aemond in this situation. There's just no other option. And I don't blame him at all for it. I would too in that situation. You have to do what you have to survive. Survival is the point here, especially in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. So Aemond leaves, and then we see Larys Strong come in. Now, Larys has a club foot. He was always ostracized by his family, and that's why he sort of didn't have a problem like being a traitor and having his family murdered for Alicent, her benefit anyway. And then ultimately, he's having this heart-to-heart with Aegon. Like he's like, look, people are going to be snickering. People are going to be talking about you. They're going to feel sorry for you, or they're going to just talk shit about you. They're going to underestimate everything you do from this point on. But if you live, that's your new power. That's your new strength of being misunderstood and looked down upon. You can use that to your advantage, like I have this whole time. I'm clearly not doing verbatim here. But like that's the message he's getting across. And I love that, because I thought Aegon was going to die. I did not think he was going to be living. I really... Like, I have to go back and like read this stuff again, because I thought he was a goner. And I don't mind that they flesh out stuff that's not in the historical, text that George R. R. Martin wrote, because George R. R. Martin is like overseeing all of the changes and additions to all the characters and situations. So he's approving it all. So I still think it's dope as hell. I dig it, especially next when we go to Daemon, who is just not in a good place. So he is now having visions about his brother, and it's not going well. He's descending to madness. We can't tell if it's the Targaryen bloodline that's making him descend to madness, or if it's Harrenhal, because there is this sort of rumor that Harrenhal is cursed. I personally think it's his Targaryen blood. Every once in a while, get a mad Targaryen. That's just how it rolls. But he's losing total semblance of any sense of control. He's starting to blame what was the guy's name? Black? the host at Harrenhal. He's like blaming him for turning against him and stuff. He's just like losing his damn mind, which is just depressing and sad because we know how badass Daemon can actually be. Ultimately, he's going to get his army, but we have to wait for that to happen. And I don't mind spending time here. I don't mind character development. I think it's incredibly important in any good story, and I love seeing where Daemon is going. But anyway, he's talking to this mysterious girl, and she's like, you need to simmer down, dude, because look, you don't know what's going to happen over one night. So how about instead of you leaving, you just sit tight and just wait. And let's just see what happens. And she has always been this sort of like medicine woman / gypsy fortune teller type character, which can sort of prophesy and foresee and help and take care of him in his mind, especially. Even when he rages against her, she sort of just does a sly smile, and he just goes along with it because what else is he going to do? Like, she's his lifeline at this very moment. So, the next day, it turns out that the old man that was waiting to die dies, and now he can go talk to the son and get that army at his back. Though that conversation doesn't go over quite as well as Daemon has hoped because the young man is a little pissed off. But what are you going to do? His dad just died. He'll come around. So the army that's being raised at Harrenhal, it's in the mail. It's coming. So we're going to, that's probably the next episode. But then we get this really beautiful moment between Mysaria and Rhaenyra where Mysaria is talking about her personal struggles and about how she was raped by her father, and the baby, who's now her brother, is like sort of, what did she say? It was like ostracized from her family. Anyway, because she suffered so much, she sort of understands the madness that is happening, and so she's willing to stay, and that gives Rhaenyra, it sort of endears her to Mysaria a little bit more than she's ever been before, connects with her emotionally, and they embrace in a hug, which it felt awkward to me. It did not feel natural, and I did not buy it 1 second on screen, but then it sort of turns into like a series of kisses and stuff, meaning they're sort of giving in to the passions in the moment. But the conversation was not romantic. It was awkward and gross. The moment seemed predatory to me. It didn't feel comfortable or natural in any possible way. The whole time I was just like, don't do it. You're taking advantage of her. This is what creeps do. I know, because I am a creep. Don't do that, So anyway, it was a very awkward and uncomfortable thing. So this entire episode is all just building up to the next episode, the penultimate episode, where we get to see dragons. Oh, I didn't want to forget. All the way up in the air Eyrie, there's a wild dragon up there. And so one of the Daemon's daughters, half-daughter, full daughter, I think it's full daughter, who was sent up there for protection with the brothers and stuff, she like calls out. She's like, hey, you didn't say anything about there being a big old dragon up here. And she's just like, yeah, there's a dragon. What are you going to do? It's just like, we can't stop it. We can't ride it. It's just a big dragon. But the girl could. So she might go to claim that dragon, which would be a very interesting turn of event because we don't know how big or how old that dragon is. We know that there are dragons out there doing their own thing, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see it. So now we have, assuming we can get the Valyrian bastard with Sea Smoke to join Rhaenyra's cause, which I think he will because his dad is on her side, is the hand. Then we have 2 new dragons in that particular case to go against Vhagar, which is exactly what they needed in the first place. I think we're probably going to save the Vhagar thing because I think Vhagar is going to go against Daemon. I think that's the battle that everyone wants to see. It's certainly the battle that Aemond wants to see. So, and I know Daemon is like, he'll be down for it 100%. So I can't wait to see where we're going next. And with only 2 episodes left of this brilliant series, I'm slowly descending into the sadness again of being without it. Even though it's still here for a couple more weeks, I know it's only here for a short time, and I'm going to have my withdrawals like I did for the first season. And I hope it doesn't take so long like it did the first season to get to the second season. Because I know they're already writing season 3 right now, so it's already been greenlit. Whereas season 2, it was a test to see whether people were on board with season 1, and then HBO greenlit season 2. So I think we're rolling. We probably won't have to wait as long. Fingers crossed. But that was my review of this last episode, Smallfolk. The Smallfolk are rising up. Oh, I didn't even mention how Alicent was almost murdered. Oh, that was so great. Where was that note? Helena. That was what, not Helen. It was Helena that I was trying to think of before. But anyway, there's this massive revolt of the citizenry because Rhaenyra and Mysaria are sending little ships with food on it. And then you're seeing these massive like wagons of sheep being rolled up so that Vhagar can eat. So the small folk over around King's Landing are like, you're feeding your dragons, you're living in opulence, and we're starving here. And so they sort of like rise up against them briefly, and Alicent and Helena almost died for it, which is brutal. But that just shows you these tactics are working. It's psychological warfare 101, and it's brutal. I mean, you never like to see the small folk leveraged like this, but that's kind of what always happens in any wartime scenario. So it's nice to see at least they're reacting and responding to that. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Always remember the evil spelled backwards is live. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Do you like these reviews, or am I just wasting my time? I'm still going to do them anyway, but I'm just curious. Have a fantastic day. Until next time. Actually, no, always remember the evil spell backwards is live. So get out there and be evil. I'll get it right one of these days.